I will now call on Representative Kinzinger to begin his questions.
Well, hey, thanks to the chairman and ranking member and to our guests for being here today. Very much appreciated. One of my major concerns in Syria, it centers on reports that Assad is trying to consolidate the flow of humanitarian aid through Damascus. How can the U.S. provide aid in a way that minimizes the ability of that corrupt government to skim assistance dollars? And also, what policies can we put into place to prevent interference by armed groups in aid distribution? And I'll just open that up to whoever wants to go first.
Thanks.
Do you want to take that one first? Yeah.
Sure. I think we all watched in dismay as the UN Security Council resolution and at the end of last year limited the cross-border access to parts of northeastern Syria. So I think the first step is to do everything within our power to maintain the cross-border access to the northwest of Syria to allow humanitarian organizations, both UN and non-governmental, to continue to access that population. It's a very complicated question. The importance of the Eurasia crossing for operations in the north that was lost in the last resolution, finding ways to get that back. To the question of the consolidation of the activities within Damascus, I think, again, this is a concern that's shared by humanitarian organizations. I think there are credible humanitarian organizations that go to great lengths to mitigate the amount of diversion and assistance that can be that the Assad regime is taking. Ultimately, however, what I think is important to consider is that there are millions of civilians in those areas controlled by the Assad regime who are also at risk of food insecurity and lacking in basic health care. And we have to come to some sort of consensus on balance of allowing humanitarian organizations to make difficult decisions about working from Damascus if need be, for the benefit of those civilian populations who, through no fault of their own, are also experiencing human suffering.
I'll automatically build on that and say, for us, humanitarian imperative is king, and that's what we follow. And humanitarian needs are all across Syria, and we can't think about Syria as a fragmented puzzle where northeast is easier for us, and accordingly we focus attention to northeast. And as Jake said, it's not an easy balance, but it is one that we have a responsibility to continue to bring to center stage and continue to talk about openly in order for us to be servicing those most in needs. In terms of diversion, I started in this industry in 2003. And when I started, my focus 100% was getting out there to the camps and doing programming. In 2020, a program manager or a country director, their focus right now is compliance, to make sure that the layers of accountability that we need to face, the fear of diversion, making sure that aid is getting to the right people and used for the right purpose is actually prime to a degree sometimes that it kills innovation and kills our ability to be able to program rapidly. And that again is an equation that requires balance, or else we're going to end up being bureaucratic machines incapable of moving, be it $1 from here to there or a kit from here to there.
Well,
and then finally,
go ahead.
Just to build on Jake's point, the loss of Yarubia, we thought maybe, okay, we can figure out a different way to go around it, was before a pandemic. Yarubia was predominantly used by WHO to make sure that medicine and medical supplies are getting into Syria. And now that is absolutely hampered. And so we do have an opportunity to revisit the UN Security Council and change the verdict that was done a year ago.
Well, thank you. And, our big battle here is we understand that you guys are focused on the humanitarian side, and we are too, but we also know that the Assad regime has created this humanitarian crisis, and the least we can do to prevent from empowering his continued dominance and creation of a humanitarian crisis, that's where we as lawmakers have to strike that balance between, I agree with compliance, it's a problem in the U.S. economy, and it's probably a major problem when it comes to administration of humanitarian aid, but the last thing I want to do is to send aid to embolden a regime that's going to continue to create a deeper and deeper problem. So with that, Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity. I'll yield back.